Hey everyone, let me turn the volume down on this. Stop what you're doing and come right here. We are live with another Facebook's live stream. Radio. So today I actually wanted to talk about how to balance being a great mom with growing your business, because I mean that's the question I get asked a lot naturally, right? And this topic is very close to my heart because I freaking live it, right? I lived it then, I'm living it now. But to keep it interesting, I've split this into a two-part video series. So today is part one, and I know so many of the moms who've talked about it, and I've heard many more speak in online groups where I hang out about struggling to grow or even start their own business while playing mummy, while juggling motherhood, or how to balance being a great mom with growing your business if you already have one, right? Do you feel that way? I know a lot of mums do, even fathers, I don't want to alienate any of those. It comes with parenthood, I guess. So, well, let me say this first, that you are not alone. Hundreds of mothers are in the same boat as you are. And that does not mean that it's the end of the world for you, or that you should give up or stop dreaming big. But I guess what I wanted to say is that, look, I've been there and done that. In fact, I'm still doing it, and balancing that, which is balancing parenthood with business. And I know it's not easy, but it's not impossible either. So back when I had my second child almost 10 years ago, right after having him, I took a voluntary redundancy, as I knew that much that with two kids, I wasn't going to continue with a job that I had no interest in, required 3 hours of commute every day, and on top of that would require for me to send our eldest son to the after school club, and the younger one to the full-time nursery. And then this commuting would become even longer. You'd have to pick one after the other, and all for what? For the job that I hated doing? Does that sound appealing to you? Certainly it didn't to me. Was it going to be beneficial to either me at a personal level or to my family? Well, besides from getting a paycheck at the end of the month, no. The answer was a big fat no. Money was not the motivator for me. I know for some it is, but it was never the end goal for me. I couldn't care less about the money side of it. But when I tell this story to other mums in similar situations, they go, it's easier said than done. I mean, maybe it was different for you, but our family really can't survive on one partner's income. And that's why we both have to work. Now listen, I've got nothing against working, I love my work. But yes, if you enjoy your work, you love your work, hell, stick with it, and figure out things which are not so important in your life that you could sacrifice to keep what you actually do love doing. In my case, I hated my job, because it wasn't something that I'd planned out to do. It wasn't something that I enjoyed. It didn't fulfill me at any level. So for me, naturally, that was the first thing that I wanted to let go of. But it's always the hardest thing for people, because at the end of the day, they're thinking, well, that pays for a lot of things in our lives. Well, the thing is, yes, sure, money pays for a lot of things in our lives, but if earning that money comes with a lot of side effects, as I like to call them, then you really have to think about your priorities. I mean, when parents say, "Oh no, we can't really survive on this one income. We really have to work," and I go, such crap. Unless you are living in the economically poor countries where the average wage of a person is $100 a month, and even then, a lot of them survive and do the best they can for their families on one income. Then you can't tell me that living in fortunate places like we do, like in the USA or UK, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, etc., and most of the Europe, you can't make it work on an average household income. Well, I'm sorry to say, but that is real bull crap. Which, by the way, in UK, the average income for one person is about 27k sterling, which is equivalent to about 33k in the current time. And in the US, average salary, which I looked up, was about over 50k, or almost 53k to be precise. Way more than us here in the UK. And we live in one of the world's most, I'm talking personally from my experience, that these average salaries, yes, they may be very low, but compared to what they earn in poorer countries, it is a huge amount. But yeah, so keeping our circumstances in mind, and we also live in the world's in one of the world's most expensive cities, London. You would hear other parents say, we can't survive on this 26,000, 30,000 household income. That's impossible. But the reality is, yes, you can. If you cut down on your 3 holidays a year, maybe, cut down on the credit card debt. But you can only do that if your perspective is right, if you are clear on your purpose in this life. If your purpose and goal is simply to make a lot of money, or a specific dollar sterling amount, a dollar number, then sure, you won't be able to survive on a single average income like that. But you might be thinking, who am I to talk about it? How do I effing know how it feels like? How it feels to live like that? Well, it's because we lived it for good many years. My husband and I and our 2 kids. We are 3 now, but at that time we were 2. Nobody, especially parents in London or in business that I know, you will hear them truthfully talk about what they make. But I have no shame in sharing it all, because if I can't be honest with you, then you will never understand where I came from and how to beat it. So when I took the redundancy to be home with my 2 kids then, which was almost 10 years ago, with a new house and a mortgage, we knew something would have to change, because we would now have to live on under 30k annual household income, from which more than half of it we knew would go to the mortgage payment and the other bills, and etc., blah blah blah. And personally, I knew that for us the sacrifice was financial. For others, like those who love their job and want to stay in it, the sacrifice may not be financial, but in other terms. For us, it was financial. So you have to figure out what it is that you have to give, and then assemble your life around it. So we knew, okay, one income was going. Now we have to live on a small amount, and so we did whatever we had to in order to live within our means. It meant that we would have to cut down on our holidays. In fact, just no holidays at all, at least overseas holidays. It meant that we had to be a little frugal with our entertainment, like going out to restaurants and stuff. But those are small little things for a huge benefit for me. That was to be home with my children. to be able to enjoy those moments when they start to talk, walk, that the gift at the end of it was so much bigger than the sacrifices we were making. And trust me, kids at that age don't really care about a holiday to Disney World or going to see the China Wall. It's about, they appreciate the small little things in life. They appreciate the half an hour, 1 hour a quality time that you spend with them. That's what they'll remember. That's what they appreciate. Even now when I ask my kids, about the best times they've had, the holidays, my 10-year-old says, "Well, I've forgotten about all those holidays." That's like, how can you forget when we went to Canada, when we went there, when we went here? It's like, I don't remember much. So I ask him, "And what do you remember?" And he tells me about all the times that he spent with me, the times when I turned up for his football game. And that's what makes me feel like so to be so proud of being able to be there for the kids, and for making the right decisions at that time of giving up on things which weren't that important, to gain things which really did matter to both of us, my husband and I. So I wouldn't say that the next few years were very easy. They certainly weren't. I went through depression, guilt, joy of having children, and so many emotions in between. So it wasn't an easy ride, but I knew at the back of my mind that there will be a time when I will figure out what I want to do in life besides raising children. And it was a long journey of self-discovery through reading books, through this one time watching this episode on Dragon's Den, and so it was a long journey of self-discovery. And I remember reading this book called 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, and Finding Your Why, Find Your Why by Simon Sinek, and it literally changed my life. I pretty much started my self-discovery from that point, self-discovery journey from that point onwards. And then I enrolled myself in a London-based business accelerator, because I was determined to then invest in my in personal development. At that point, I knew that if I can't be happy inside, then I wouldn't be able to take better care of our children, our family, and it took me a while to realize that, but I got there, and I knew that it had to start from me. So, in time, it led me to writing a best-selling book called Guiltfree Motherhood, and that led me to talking to hundreds and hundreds of moms from around the world. So, it has been a long journey. It just doesn't happen overnight. There is no overnight success formula, and by success I mean not just money-wise or financially or wealth-wise. It's in success in every way. How the happiness, to be fulfilled, to be happy. It doesn't just happen overnight. It takes a lot of work and a lot of self-awareness. So that was kind of my my journey and my rant on why I hate it when parents say that, oh, we can't live on this 30K household income or 40K, 50K, whatever. At the end of the day, it's down to what is more important to you. And then make sacrifices accordingly. You can't have everything, that such is life. So on that note, now you might be thinking, okay, that's your story, but what about any practical tips? If we are in this situation, what do we do about it? Well, I'm going to do exactly that in tomorrow's video. So if you'd like to hear them, make sure you tune in tomorrow for tomorrow's Facebook Live session, and that will be about my actual practical tips and on how to balance motherhood or parenthood with growing your business. In the meantime, if you haven't liked my business page, please do so, share some love, and do join the GroBizNiz group as private mastermind group as well. If you haven't already, the link for it I think is on the screen, and if you don't know the link to the business page, I will share with you in the comment section below. So my friends, have a lovely afternoon, and I'll see you tomorrow. Ciao.